We're going to start out with Kelly Hartman. For those of you, I think most of you know, Kelly Hartman is the co-chair of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability, and she's also the owner of Insights Consulting and founder and member of the board of Outside the Box. And so she's going to start our meeting off with an update on the service delivery data that she receives, kind of sharing information of the lay of the land as it relates to disabilities, what's going on in that world. So go ahead, Kelly.
Hey guys. So as far as trying to sort out COVID data specific to folks with disabilities, just keep in mind when I tell you this, that of the people who are eligible for services across the state of Indiana, the number is suggested to be between 100 and 110,000 total Hoosiers are eligible for services. Only 30,000 or so receive services, and that's in the Medicaid waivers and supported group living, which we often refer to as group homes. And so just to give you an idea, that data to date, statewide, people in services, we've had 1,623 individuals test positive for COVID. And of those 1,623, 32 of those individuals in services that are that have been tested positive for COVID, 32 of them are in Hamilton County. The other two things I just want to point out is if you are a parent or have a loved one who does receive services, you may be experiencing one of two things. Either things are great and your provider is still providing services and all is well. Of course, you may certainly be waiting for, like waiting until people in your home. You may not be comfortable getting services right now, but there are some providers who really aren't comfortable having their staff work in people's homes. And so just know that there are providers in Hamilton County that are willing to put staff in there or to hire individuals that are close to your family if you're really in need of some waiver supports as far as personal assistant care or respite services. So, and I know Dana is on the call. I think Michelle Stelz is also from Opportunities for Positive Growth. Obviously, we also have a lot of folks who participate in services through Janus, and I know some services through Insights Consulting. And so just make sure you're staying in close touch with your provider if you're in need of additional support during this time. A lot of people have extra hours that they can use now because they did shut down for a few months and didn't use so many hours. And because your hours are on basically an annual basis, you can talk to your case manager about how to best utilize those as you and your family are especially going into the holidays and maybe needing some respite. The other thing that's really important, and I will send the letter from Family and Social Services that came out this week, but there is a very specific lineup for who will be getting vaccines first, and essential workers, meaning frontline healthcare workers who are working with people who have the highest level of risk for contracting COVID will be first in line. That does include DSPs. So it will be important for you to know how your agency is going to handle that. Right now, although they're going to be sending, the plan is to send emails out to people who are employees. And so, for example, I'll get an email from Family and Social Services, and then it'll be my responsibility as a leader in my agency to get the word to my DSPs. Just so you know, the important things here are identification and proof that you do work for someone who has a qualifying healthcare provider who will be first in line. So that's going to start happening rather fast. There's been a really strong multidisciplinary group of professionals that has come to support FSSA and a task force to plan for that first line of vaccines in Indiana. They're really trying to make sure that people who are high risk and people who are providing direct supports to those individuals are first in line for the vaccine. So I'll send that letter. Cecilia and I will send that letter out so you guys all have a copy of that and know what's up with that. And that's pretty much all I have from the provider front. Same old, same as March, April, May, June, all of the months.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Are there any questions from anybody? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, that's great news. Well, I'm glad we are seeing some bit of light coming forward here in the next few months that will hopefully, make us go in a positive direction and get us back to normal life again. Um, we're going to go next to the Thrive Social Club. Mary Kennedy is going to share with us some updates, share with you what's happened since the club formed, what they've done, what's going on, and how you can join or at least pass the information on to people that that might be interested. So I'll pass this on to Mary Kennedy. Hi, Mary.
Can I have a reprieve? Can I go third? I'm having a little technical difficulty. That's why I'm standing here looking miffed right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I need to switch over to my computer because my iPad's not working. So I'm going to dial back
No
in.
worries, no worries. Okay. The other group that's been meeting virtually is the Action Club. And so we thought it'd be important to try to give you guys an update of some of the things that are happening that groups that are still meeting at least virtually. And so next we'll just go on to an update for the Fishers Geist Action Club update. Dana Potchman, she's the club advisor, and she's going to share a little bit of what's going on with Action Club. Hi, Dana.
Hi, thanks, Cecilia. So we have been trying to get in the hang of meeting virtual. I had a lot of people very interested in meeting up in person over the summer, and that's obviously super risky. So now that we're back into the winter months and people are looking for things to do, I've had a lot of interest in meeting virtual. So we're going to start a bi-weekly bingo club for the group. So our first meeting is actually tomorrow. We're going to play 3 rounds of bingo, and there's going to be prizes and some socialization. So we have a pretty big turnout. I already have 15 people signed up, so which is huge for Action Club. So lots of interest, and we're always welcoming more people. Then the next bingo will actually be next week, just so that we can get the bi-weekly going in opposite of the holiday. And that's going to continue until COVID. It's safe for us to meet in person again. So every other week, if anybody's interested, I will put the email for the club in the chat box. It's kind of long, but if you guys want to email me if you're interested or have a person that you care for that's interested, we're always taking new members. We do like for them to be at least 18 or older, but with COVID, we can welcome some younger kiddos too. Just whatever is needed socially for these guys. So.
Dana, can you also share a little bit, I guess, of what you guys have done since the club started about a year and a half ago? Can you share a little bit of like some of the things you guys were doing before COVID, maybe some of the service things that you were doing?
Yeah, so typically we are a service club, so we kind of are piggybacking off of Thrive. You'll hear about Thrive here in a little bit, but we're the service piece of socialization. So we've volunteered helping better the community with some Beautify Fishers, and we've tried to get connected with the Agri Park. And prior to that, we've done a lot of things in partnership with Kiwanis, so some food drives and things that help the kiddos in the community. So the Easter egg hunt that they do every year, we've helped out with that. And we've raised some funds for Riley. The Kiwanis Club has a Riley cart, and so we've helped participate with that.
That's great. Can you also share, if someone wants to be a member for 2021, how is that going to work? Like, what's the fee, and what's the plan in terms of like getting inducted into the club, or how does that work?
So we're waiving fees until we're back in person. But when we are back in person, there is an annual due of $8. And so that you pay your dues and sign up with Kiwanis, which can be done through me, and you're officially a member. The only requirement for official membership is to be 18 years and older and to pay those dues. So yeah, when we're back in person, we'll make sure that's a priority. But for now, as long as you have an interest in the socialization piece, you can join our Zoom meetings. No problem.
Thank you, Dana. Are there any questions for Dana? Anybody have any questions? If you could give us the email in the chat box, Dana, if you don't mind, the
Yeah,
email to
absolutely.
anyone that's interested. No, and I think
I
Kelly
have
has
a
a question.
Oh,
No, I was waving. Yes, I really do have a question. I just thought of something else to tell you guys. And while we're in the recreational corner of the meeting, I wanted to bring this up. I was on a conversation. I know many people from the Fishers community use the Monon Center for adaptive sports classes. And they found out last week that all of the recreational staff in the adaptive sports program have been laid off. December 12th, I believe, will be their last day. The only person that has been retained in employment is Michelle Yaden, which is the director of the adaptive sports program. Of course, there are hopes that as we get through this, that they'll be able to get that going again. I do believe that we're trying to come up with some collaboration that will help them get some things going. But in case you guys have folks that are using their services virtually, it's going to be rough rides for them for a little while. So it makes even what you're doing, Dana, and with Thrive, both of those things here in Fisher, that just makes it even more important for us to make sure we have those accessible to our folks, because they're losing opportunities other places.
That's very
Thanks,
sad.
Kelly, for sharing that. I'm bummed out about that. I can imagine it's just with all this going on, it's hard. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're right
I
that
have
we
a
have
question.
these events. Yes.
Yes, hi, this is Ziba Sabiri. Unfortunately, I couldn't get on the video. What Dana is talking about, what club is it? This is the first time I hear about it. And I know you said about signing up and also bingo. How do we sign up for that? I have a daughter who is 26 years old with Charles syndrome.
yeah. So it's a service club, but we're doing some social events right now. And I put the email in the chat box. So
How do I get to the chat box? That's anybody?
Are you on your phone?
I am on my phone now. I'm sorry, what did you ask?
So if you're on your phone, you won't be able to see the chat box, but Cecilia, could we send that out in an email?
Sure, absolutely. I can send it to you. It's Fisher's Geist Action Club at gmail.com. I will send that. I'll send an email out. How about that, Dana? If you could send me something and I can forward it on to the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I
it's
appreciate it. Thank
yes,
you.
Fisher's Geist Action Club at gmail.com, and it's part of Kiwanis, and it's a service club for individuals with disabilities 18 and older. So
Okay, I just wrote that. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Action Club is spelled with a K, so it's AKTION, which is a little unusual.
Oh, action and then KLUB, right?
Fisher's Geist and then Action AKTION and then club at gmail.com.
Oh, okay. I thought you said club. Okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm. I'll email you. I'll email you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So she's also we're also going to share some information about Thrive Social Club through Mary Kennedy. So Mary's going to go next and talk about another club that's meeting virtually for individuals 18 and older. So
Okay.
Mary, if you're ready.
Sure. Thanks, Cecilia. So, so with everything, things, we try to launch this club probably in the worst possible moment, but maybe the best possible moment. People are really needing something social, I think. So, I actually why I needed to to let Dana go first, I put a couple of slides together and I got it, I think, working now. So let me share my screen, and I just want to just show pictures of things that we've done so far and explain with that. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Yes, okay, great. So I'm hoping this will work. So we started with an event, our first event. We did it in conjunction with Fishers Parks. They were having a park cleanup day. So we kind of actually did it in conjunction with the parks as well as Action Club. So Dana sent things out with her group, as well as the database that we had through Thrive. And we got a pretty good response, I feel like. Hold on here, if I can. There we go. So this is everybody who came. We took a group picture. This was the beginning of October. I think it was like October 3rd. We had about 17, 20 people, something like that, attend. There were people from the community, a couple of community volunteers, as well as people with intellectual disabilities, caregivers, family members. It was a really fun day. So we spent the day cleaning up the park. We had a pavilion, and we went out and we all sort of had trash bags and cleaned up the park, and went along the hiking trails and picked things up. And then we had a little fun afterwards. We had some yard games. We had cornhole, a couple other games, and then we had some snacks. We kind of just hung out and got to know each other a little bit. So as you can see, everybody wore masks, and we just tried to make the best of it. And I think we actually had a pretty fun time. So it was that first weekend in October. And so then we're hoping to have an event every month. And so there was a warm day in early November that we seized on because we were thinking we probably aren't going to be able to have any more events. But there was a nice warm day in early November that we put something out, and we just said, let's go hike at Heritage Park. And so we had a group of probably 15 or so people show up that day, and they have a nice paved trail there. We had this is Ryan and a friend of his, and there's Alyssa. So we all just sort of wore our masks and got to know each other, and hiked around the park. And then from there, we decided that it's gotten kind of cold, as well as the numbers have gotten pretty high. So let's do game nights. Let's do Zoom game nights. So we came out with a schedule of 5 Fridays and doing game nights. So we had one about 3 weeks ago with Dana. Dana did a variety of games on Zoom with the group. Then we did this was the first night, and then we did a bingo night. Actually, this might be for the bingo night. We did a bingo and football the weekend of Thanksgiving, and that was fun. So you had to RSVP, and then I sent you bingo cards. And then our next one, Cecilia, just this past Friday, had a winner of an event. She had a scavenger hunt, and the kids really had the young adults really had a nice time. So so that's what we've been doing. We've been just trying to get to know each other and socialize as frequently as we possibly can. So we're meeting again this Thursday to discuss what's going to happen from there. So, sorry, that's my phone. So anyway, so that is, that's where we stand with Thrive. And we're kind of thinking, this Zoom thing is kind of working, so we'll probably continue with it.
Thanks, Mary. Will you share too that there's an event this Friday, and what time? And then could you put in the chat box your email of anybody if you wanna join the Thrive Club to email you? And this Friday is going to be fun. Can you share like the next 2 events?
Yes, so this coming Friday we'll have Angela Tussell is hosting it, and she's having an ugly Christmas sweater party, Zoom game night, and she's asking us Christmas trivia, so it's going to be another kind of thing. The following Friday, we're gonna have a DJ and we're gonna have a dance party. So so that, and then we'll probably take a break for a few weeks over the holiday, and then get going back up in January. And I'm telling people I have a email list that I'm just adding people as they request to be added to get the information, and just send it out via email. So so I'll put the email address for Thrive in the chat box. And if you have not been getting the emails, send that email, your email address, and I will add you to the list. And once
Okay,
again,
I'm not
this is
in the
for
chat
adults 18 years of age and older, young adults or adults.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any questions from the group?
Could Mary give her email so I can send her request for putting us in the list, please?
Yep,
I'm not in the chat box again.
So
That's
it's
a berry.
thrivefishers@gmail.com.
And
Oh,
Mary, you
that's
can
odd.
stop sharing your screen too, I believe.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah,
I
we can put that in the
email
notes.
everybody that information too.
Yeah.
So we'll send the information on the two clubs.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
Mary's
you.
done a great job, Mary, and there's some other parents, and we've just been trying to brainstorm. If you have any suggestions, I don't know if anybody on the call today has any suggestions of activities or things we could do during COVID, but we're open to some fun ideas right now. But right now, that's what we've planned, is at least some Zoom meetups. Okay. Well, thank you guys. The other thing we wanted to kind of share with you is some of the latest information of our plans for March Disability Awareness Month. Our committee met, and the theme for 2021 will be building our inclusive community. And what we're wanting to do this coming year is to really highlight the things that we've done in the last 6 years, this group in particular, the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. So we're working on a video that we would show at the kickoff, which will be March 1st, Monday, March 1st at Fisher City Hall from 8:30 to 10 a.m. And this event will be virtual. If it doesn't work out that we can meet in person, it will be virtual, but we are working on a video montage that will capture like each activity or initiative that we've done in the last six years. So it'll be done to music, it'll be captioned, it'll be a really nice event. We've also secured our keynote speaker. It's going to be Ben Trockman, and he is the diversity inclusion specialist for Old National Bank, and he is also a newly elected city councilor for the city of Evansville. Great guy. He's doing some other things at the national level to help bring more awareness about physical disabilities and accessibility in travel with air flights, airplane travel, and airlines, working with them. He's on the board of what's the Indiana, Amy? He's on that board with
Able Authority.
Able Authority. So he's doing a lot. Great guy. So we're really excited. So please put that on your calendar, March 1st as the kickoff, and we will be announcing our winners of our awards. So I will be sending that out to the email group for this committee, this advisory committee. We have 3 types of awards that we are going to be awarding to people. One is the Life Without Limits Award, and this is a person who is an individual with a physical or intellectual disability that has demonstrated outstanding contributions to the community of Fishers by promoting inclusion, independence, and eliminating barriers. And contributions of community life would include art, culture, athletics, workplace, education, leadership, and service. So look for the criteria there on that. The next award is the Cornerstone Employer Award, and this is for an employer who has, it could be an individual, business, or organization in the Fishers community that has demonstrated an exemplary commitment to providing inclusion and career training, employment, and/or advancement opportunities to persons with disabilities. And then the final award is the Accessibility Award, and this is recognizing a individual, business, or organization in the Fishers community that has made exceptional contributions to advocate and/or eliminate barriers with respects to community life, to ensure persons with disabilities can access and participate in programs, activities, and events. So I will send you the link for that, and think about people that you know that would be good candidates for these awards. So we'll be giving out those awards on March 1st. On March 2nd, this committee will meet again. So this is our final meeting for 2020. So our next meeting will be in 2021. It'll be our quarterly meeting from 5:30 to 7:30 on March 2nd. I don't have a topic at this point right now. I don't know if any of you have any suggestions on maybe topic discussions that we could have. One of the thoughts was having just kind of an overview of the different events that are planned for March. Any thoughts from anybody there at who's on the call right now of any discussion topics for our quarterly meeting in March? You can email me or Kelly with any suggestions. Last year, our theme was related to caregivers and trying to provide more support, emotional and mental health awareness to caregivers. So we're open to suggestions. So let me know.
I do think one thing that would be helpful in is the meeting in January, Cecilia? Is that what you said?
March 2nd.
Okay, never mind. It'll be too late for that. I was going to say, if this group is open to hearing from me in January, I'd be happy to send out via email a legislative update to help you guys know what issues are impacting folks with disabilities and what will be brought in front of the state legislature this year, where you guys can be active with your legislators and be an advocate for the folks we support in our community.
Okay. That would still be a great idea. I don't know if March 2nd would be too late but that would be a great idea to kind of know what's happening at the legislative level and at the state level. So we could plan to at least give a short overview on that. Our next event is March 10th. So put that on your calendar if you'd like to attend the One Zone Luncheon. It's going to be talking about employment and disabilities, and One Zone is hosting that event. And we have Kelly Hope from Voc Rehab that's going to give an overview of employment disability. And Michelle Stelz is on the call today. I don't know, Michelle, if you want to just share maybe a little bit of what's planned.
Yeah, really just working on introducing. So this is the first time that we've been able to do this with One Zone. So this will be, One Zone is the Carmel and the Fishers Chamber of Commerce. So really looking at sharing those success stories, talking through some of those what if scenarios, helping those employers feel comfortable of starting to engage in these conversations, and then also help those employers know what kind of supports are available. That somebody who has a diagnosed disability that might be coming to a workforce through a VR placement isn't just going to get dropped off at the door and, good luck, there you go. That we talk about the supports that happen, and all those kind of reinforcements, training that can be done with employees. So this is really the first opportunity, and we know that the Carmel Council is having some movement in this, but really to have a joint effort. And this will be a lot of businesses that, a lot of the businesses that we have worked with before are not members of One Zone, so it'll be a whole new audience. And they have been very supportive, and really, I think, will be a great partner moving forward in getting the business community involved as well. And we've been working with, we've also been having some conversations with IU Saxony on trying to work with them and getting some things happening at IU Saxony as well. So.
Yeah, that's exciting. So please put down March 10th as an event. Again, this will also be converted into a virtual event if we cannot meet in person, but there will be a membership lunch cost or a non-member cost. It's not that much. I want to say it's $35 or something like that for a non-member and $25 for a member, something like that. But we'll be providing more details to the group in the near future. The other event is Friday, March 12th, and on the agenda, we did change the time. The art reception at Conner Prairie, it's going to be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and that's being led by the Fishers Arts Council, and I do have Tom Rich, who's the president of the Fishers Arts Council. If Tom, if you could share a little bit maybe about what's being planned there.
Thank you. Right now, we are working with the videographer that you have, Cecilia, Brian Brosmer. We want to go to as many of the organizations that provide art as a part of their curriculum, such as OTB, Janus, the School for the Visually Impaired and Blind, and show how they have building our inclusive community by working with the students. We're going to have artwork again at Conner Prairie. We will have the first floor of City Hall, and then we're going to work with the Nickel Plate Business District owners and that broader business group in Fishers to again have one piece of art and as many businesses as we can with a biography and statement of the artists themselves. So that's where we are right now. We're working. Hopefully I'll have an update before March.
Thank you, Tom. Tom does an excellent job, and the Fishers Arts Council, I mean, they have been so amazing with setting this all up. It'll be a really nice reception. If those of you that have never been, it is really nice. There's food. It's really just a special night. And so right now, what I'm asking everybody is if you know of any artists or art groups that you think need to be represented. I know there's probably a lot more out there that we haven't engaged with, but Tom and the Fishers Arts Council, they're looking for more artists and more art groups. So please email me, or you could Kelly or Tom, just email me and we'll pass that along. I don't know if there's any questions right now with this, or if someone wants to mention some arts people. Does anyone have any questions?
I will have a call out ready sometime by the end of this week.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of impressive artists, and it's just a special night. So please mark that on your calendars. That is a free event. It's just a really nice event.
I
The next,
join,
yes.
please. I'm so sorry. I was stuck on a service call. Where are we? And what I got in on, there's a reception.
Oh, Friday, March 12th is the arts reception at Conner Prairie. We're talking about the events that are planned for March Disability Awareness Month. So
Okay.
that'll be 7 to 9 p.m. So the next thing,
it says 6 to.
yes, it got changed to
Okay.
from 7 to 9.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry for
Yeah,
being
and I will resend all that too. So, yes, thank you, thank you. The next thing that's planned is Tuesday, March 23rd is the reverse job fair at Grace Church, and I'll have Michelle kind of share a little bit more about that. It's at 11:30, and I'm assuming that this will be virtual. If it can't happen, I'm not sure, but she's
Yeah, I'm not sure. We haven't quite gotten that far. There is some space at Grace, so that maybe depending on where we are at that time, there might be some opportunity to spread folks out. This is really an opportunity where, so in a traditional, maybe the traditional job fair, you have your employer who might be standing at a table, and interested candidates would come up to that employer and talk about the job openings, the employer, that type of thing. So this is just kind of that spin on it, and that we have the person who is looking for a job who's kind of manning their table, and then other employers can come up to them. So you kind of remove some of those kind of barriers of making those introductions. We'll get resumes out ahead of time so that the employers can know which candidates they want to go look at or talk to. It's just kind of a little turn on the events where the employer needs to approach the candidate, and makes things maybe a little easier. But just so, yeah, we've had a lot of, I know the Autism Society of Indiana have had a lot of success with that. And we had one planned for March this year, but obviously that got pushed back. So I think we will, we'll try to move forward with it in person if we can. And then we'll figure out if we can't, what we need to do. So, but yeah, there'll be more information of that coming out ahead, because we'll want to know, we'll have to have employers register. Last year we had planned for employers to do some training ahead of time, just some introduction to what was going to happen, and then have candidate resumes and those type of things ahead of time so we could get those to employers. So, yeah, so hopefully it'll be a good event, and hopefully everything will work out that we can do it in person somewhat would be ideal. So.
Thanks, Michelle. We're really excited about this because we're hoping to really engage more of the One Zone members from Carmel and Fishers, and really make this a really great event and something that we can continue to do and grow. So thank you, Michelle and Kelly Pogue, and for helping with that. The next event that's planned, and this is a really important one, and I'm asking everyone to definitely mark that on your calendar and be able to attend, is March 30th, Tuesday. It's My Point of View Day, breakfast with the mayor, and this will be in the morning at Fisher City Hall from 8:30 to 10:30. And this is something we've been doing for a number of years. Unfortunately, this past year's was canceled due to COVID, but this is an event that we're planning to do virtually if we can't do it in person. But this is something where it's really important, because this is a day where the disability stakeholders can meet with the mayor, city staff, with department heads, elected officials from the community, from the state, and really share kind of what is your point of view, what's life like for those with disabilities or their caregivers or the people that provide care or services for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So it's usually a roundtable format. We have like a little breakfast buffet, continental breakfast, and then we designate tables, and the tables have different topics. Usually it's centered around employment, housing, transportation, accessibility. So this was something I wanted to spend a little time on to see if people had any pressing issues or topics that maybe we need to address at this event that's really impacting the disability community. We've made a lot of headway, I believe, in Fishers as it relates to employment, housing, accessibility and inclusion. Transportation is one right now that I would really like to see how we can brainstorm ideas, things that we could do to help with that regard as it relates to transportation for people that can't drive, you know, the disability community. I'm open to other areas, and I didn't know if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions right now in terms of topics to cover.
Wow.
Anybody? No?
I guess there's only one thing that comes to the top of my mind, and that is those with disabilities. It's hard enough for normal people to get out and just socialize and make new friends and do things. Our community isn't set up that way. We don't have a lot of meeting places where people just kind of congregate. And I think you hear it. There's that loneliness. How do I meet people? How do I meet people? I don't know what we can do, but I think it's a huge problem. How do we meet people? How do we get together?
Well, thanks for the suggestion. You know, I think I know the trail is coming. You know, with the trail, there's going to be a lot of places to engage, a lot of interactive opportunities, definitely with the clubs that we have here. But I think you know, mental health would be a good topic to cover. Maybe the other thing I think, Kelly, that's really important still is direct support providers and the lack of funding, the lack of support for that in that regard. What are your thoughts on that?
So I have been in several meetings with legislators leading up to the session that starts in January, and this was our year, right? Like, this was the year we had First Steps got their funding, education got funded, and this was the year that DSPs were going to get funded, and then COVID hit. So it is really unfortunate. I do know that some proposals are being floated towards the legislature that DSPs could potentially benefit if we pass a cigarette tax. So there would be cigarette tax money would fund more services for people with intellectual disabilities. For those of you that don't understand how the formula works, for every dollar we spend of Indiana tax money, we get $2 as a match from the federal government. So anything that we can do at the state level to get more money in our system, we get to multiply that, and it becomes more money, right? And so there's a lot of discussion about how do we get that to happen. If we just go with budget, we're probably not hopeful. So that's one thing I think it would be valuable to get you guys, get in front of you the information necessary to advocate for those things in January when I know how all the things come together. But yeah, we are still struggling really, really badly with, and it's not just here in Indiana, and it's certainly not just in Fishers. It is a nationwide problem.
Yeah.
I wonder if a campaign of some sort, Cecilia, that we could do prior to our quarterly meeting to sort of raise awareness and get people to participate in that conversation.
And I think probably what would be really helpful is if I could get you guys the direct place for us as a community to insert our opinions, because the ARC of Indiana and NARF, which is the trade association that represents provider agencies, will have significant lobbyists paid lobbyists working on these issues in January. So I know that they're asking for stories from families. How have you been impacted by not having support staff? I know in certain parts of the city, we're even around Indianapolis, we're even impacted more because of, for example, on the south side, we can't hire anybody at $11 or $12 an hour because everybody can go to Amazon and work for $15 to $20 an hour. And you don't even have to have a driver's license. You just get dropped off at work and throw boxes for 8 to 12 hours and make that kind of money. People aren't lining up DSPs. So it is a real struggle. And I can continue to give you guys information on ways that we as a community can join some of the statewide platforms that are really working closely with the legislators through our lobbyists.
Kelly, that would be great. I was wondering, is ARC doing some kind of legislative event or something that maybe our group could attend or something like that? Or
so there is a critical issues forum that is, I believe, next Tuesday. And I think people can sign up for that. It's a virtual event this year, but it does give a really good overview of the things that they'll be discussing this year for critical legislative issues. So I can make sure that everybody gets that information. And if nothing else, I'm happy to give a synopsis of that session to this group.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, this is Angela Tussell. By DSPs, are you talking respite also?
Yeah.
Okay, because another critical issue with that is the training that's required, because there's very few agencies that provide training that is conducive to schedules. So you might have teachers and therapists and students that would love to be a respite provider, but they can't do the training because it's just ridiculously cumbersome. It's difficult for them to schedule it around a full-time job. It needs to be more online. So that's the big problem we've run into. We have great people, but they're like, I can't take off work to do this training.
So I will say that providers have, a number of providers have done a great job pivoting amidst COVID to better offer online opportunities for staff to be trained. And I know Speaker Houston also suggested that one of the ways that we might be able to tackle some of these issues in the legislative session is to basically deregulate, because there's a lot of things that people need training on that may not really, that the rules say we have to do training on, that may not be really applicable to somebody who's getting 2 or 3 hours of respite or 2 or 3 hours of, personal assistance and care a month, right? So, and if you have to go through this ridiculous training program, which is sometimes not relevant, it becomes a hindrance to even go through that to be hired by a family. So I think that's another way that we can advocate for what better outcomes, I guess, for staff is to kind of unbundle some of those pretty strict requirements. But there are providers that are doing a better job than this time last year.
Hey, Kelly, can you, with the legislative session, address where we are with waiver redesign too? Because I'm sure that's part of the funding piece, because this is a budget year.
Yeah, so waiver redesign is skipping along, and we are coming together with ideas from many different corners of the provider and advocate community, as well as families. I would venture to say that we are not going to probably see any kind of significant change in the redesign of the waiver until 2022. And I don't believe that we're going to have a thirst for a great deal of change in the midst of a biennial budget. So, July 2022, that'd be great if we had new things, but that is also going to be in the middle of the budget that we established this year, which begins July 1st of 2021 and extends for 2 years. So there won't be great changes that are tied to the need for increased funding if we don't get any. I do know the cigarette tax that they're talking about what they would ask for is a certain amount of money in each year of the biennium budget. So that could be, geared towards making some changes in how things are done with waiver redesign. But everything kind of got, slowed down. And to be honest, with COVID impacting tax revenues, it's really
Right.
impacting what we believe we're going to get, which then impacts everything. So good times. Any other questions about that stuff? Sometimes I forget how many meetings I sit at tables to talk about this, like throughout the month. So I'm always happy to answer questions if you come after this meeting. If you ever have questions about the provider world or what's happening at the state level, I'm always happy to provide that input.
Thank you, Kelly. She's a busy lady. She's everywhere. I think she has a clone. So that is about it for what is being planned right now for March Disability Awareness Month 2021. We're trying to make it very simple and not as many events, things that can be converted virtually, because we just don't know, and there's a lot of unknowns. And so I think it'll be nice just to have less less in the schedule. And the other thing that the city's doing is they're going to be putting out through their social media platform that they have now. This is Fishers. They're going to be doing some interviews of different individuals and organizations to bring more awareness of what's being done at the local level in Fishers. So like Thrive and Action Club, and information of different things that are happening with regard to disabilities in the month of March. So that'll be nice. Are there any announcements? Is there anything that you would like to share of anything that's happening within your organizations, or any events or anything of importance that anyone would like to share right now? Anything? Okay. Well, not a lot happening. A lot of downtime, I think, and so the other thing I just have, so we're going to wrap up the meeting really quickly. So I wanted to let you know about the different dates for our advisory committee on disability, our quarterly meetings. Right now, they're scheduled for Tuesdays from 5:30 to 7:30. So March 2nd, June 1st, September 7th, and December 7th. Those will be our quarterly meetings. And as always, if anyone's interested in working in any of our subcommittees that we have, please reach out to Kelly and I if you're interested in being a part of any of the initiatives that we're doing. We would love to have you guys. With that, unless there's any questions, we'll go ahead and adjourn for the night. Are there any final questions from anybody? Okay. Well, thank you everybody for being here this evening. Have a wonderful holiday season. Be safe and healthy. And then we look for the email with all the information, the nominee links for the awards, the dates for March, and the links and emails to the different clubs, and any legislative information that Kelly might have of what's coming up. So thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.